Aloha, everyone. This is another Freedom to Feel conversation, and my guest today is Valérie Demont. She is a conscious business mentor, an author, and the guide for spiritually aligned entrepreneurs. Her work bridges embodied wisdom, inner leadership, and the deep reconnection to the body as a source of clarity, safety, and truth. She's the author of Being is the New Doing, the 6 step soul led path to an aligned life and business. So your book will be released, let me see, March 30th. So that's good to know. It will be available on Amazon and also on your website. So the full bio of Valerie will be on the podcast notes also at the end of this video. So this is not the whole of you, Valerie, just a little bit of a glimpse. Let's explore who you are and what you're here for, like this conversation. I thank you for saying yes to it. So, how would you introduce yourself? Who is Valerie in this very moment?
Oh my God. At this very moment,
Yes.
I can say it's early morning here, so I'm the best available version of me.
Yes. Good. Good. Oh, I love that. Huh. The best available version of me. That's a very good title of a book, isn't it? The
Oh
best
yes. Oh,
available
maybe it's
version.
the next one,
I know, please.
Oh.
If you write it, let me know. I love that because a lot of times we are very harsh to ourselves because we are not ready for certain things. We think we did it wrong and we didn't do enough and we are not enough or we are not the best version we could have been. But you know what? Yeah, we are the best version of ourselves in each moment. Every second, that's the best we can give in this present moment. So thank you for saying that. It's very compassionate.
You're welcome.
That's a soulful thing already to get started with. Very spiritual thing. So I would love to hear your story, like the back story of you. How did you came to be this representation of you writing the book and exploring these deep topics? I would love to hear the background.
Yeah. I think that my whole life, or the red dots of my life connecting all the experience is that I try to find me, and I never I and trying to find me was, I mean, the real part, the real version of me, and it was always around others' expectations. You know,
Yeah.
I was 17 and one of my friends said, "Oh, you're a woman, you are meant to be a secretary."
Oh.
And then, okay, my God, from where does it come? Absolutely not. Do you know me? Do you really know me? It's not possible.
Right.
And already at that time, I felt inside myself something like, I am an alpha. And what does it mean to be an alpha? I don't know. And then, I had several fall in my career, a burnout. I failed at HEC, which is a commerce school here in Switzerland, and the best one, but I failed, and I wanted to be a teacher, an accounting teacher. My God, it's a
Yes.
bad thing that happened in my life, because yes, I probably, and it was such another path. And then I try to fit in, companies, please my boss. And
Yeah.
at that time, he recognized me. I think he knew who I was. Really, truly, he saw me. But finding the true me, he manipulated me, I think, to be the one that can really support him. And it was
Mm-hmm.
really great because he was a great mentor. But at one point, I was so happy to be recognized that at one point I burnt out because I followed him wherever he goes.
Yeah.
And it was not my path.
Uh,
So,
mm.
And yes, there was all my life, it was like that, trying to fit, to be seen for who I am. And in this pathway, I missed my
Mm,
me, the full version, the complete version of me. And
yeah.
I realized then, when I dig into, my astrology and Chiron and all those stuff,
Oh yeah.
and that oh my
I
God.
do know. Yeah, those things.
Yeah, yeah. I know, you know.
Yeah.
And I realized that I have a karmic wound, um, which is the right to be myself. Because,
Mm,
yes,
mm,
I was a surprise for my parents. They didn't expected me.
uh,
And I think if my mother haven't met my father, she wouldn't have had me.
right.
So yes, it means that during those 9 months, I felt a lot of,
Uh,
not rejection, but probably
yeah.
the feeling that I didn't deserve to be here.
Yeah. That's sad. And that a lot of people relate to that. I think in a sense we all do because we're all looking for love, aren't we? Pretty much everyone. I see that as we have been abandoned, let down by God or something. Yeah, that's something that's a feeling that we all share, perhaps from a different perspective, but we all share that. At some point, we realize that, wait a minute, I am life itself. And life never abandons
Yes,
life. We are just very
yes,
much life. So I will have, so the topic is inner governance, learning to
yeah.
feel safe enough to be yourself. I love the topic, learning to feel safe enough to be you. So let me see if I can get my screen share. I want to show the cover of your book. Yeah,
Yes.
it came along good because sometimes it doesn't show up. So maybe we can start there too with this topic of inner governance, and being is the new doing. So talk to me about this specific statement. What does it mean to be in relation to doing? Can we be and also do at the same time? Can I would love for you to talk to me about this whole
Yes.
concept.
Ah, yes. Okay. This came because I'm a doer. I
Mm.
used to be
Oh,
such a doer, overperforming, overdoing, exhausting myself to reach goal, success, or at
yeah.
least outer expectations
Right, right.
and outer success criteria. And at one point, I realized that, and thanks to social media, that there is a lot of stuff over there that don't have a good energy,
Right.
people complaining, or or fake news, or just news that aren't positive,
Right, right.
and or people trying to show up in a different way and not truly authentic way.
Mhm. Yeah.
And at one point, I think something like 10 years ago, I realized that the only way to have a better world
Yeah. Yeah.
is to find a way to do in another way, and stop doing from bad ego, from
Mhm.
power,
Mhm.
from competition,
Right.
from, yeah, I don't know, inner pressure, outer pressure.
Mm. Mm.
All these instinctive governance are really wrong
Right.
and put us in a survival mode, but as well the one at in front of us receiving what we are saying and doing.
Right.
And
Right.
yes, that's it. And the other point is that yes, my whole life I try to be myself, try to be accepted fully.
Yeah.
And so it means being, be
Yeah.
myself, be fully myself,
Yeah.
with all my emotions, all my, drama stuff, all
Mm.
my hands moving when I talk, and so on.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
at one point, be yourself, being yourself, choosing your own success criteria, your own way of doing things. I mean, with your own rhythm, with your authentic energy,
Mhm.
is probably the best thing you can do for the world.
Mm. Yes, a billion times. Yes, that truth. Yes, being really what we are meant to be. And do you do you believe that there is a lot to do with let's say wounds of childhood? Would you say that healing is the pathways, one of the pathways to being? It's doing the healing work.
Probably a part, but a lot of past stuff built the person who we are today, and not everything is wrong, and even the wounds probably made us stronger. And all at one point, all what we have learned make the whole puzzle of who we are. And if it wounds, if it karmic stuff, if it's what you learned at school or from your mentor,
Mm,
it's it built yourself. And so
right.
I think that part of being and is being steady and recognize what makes you strong.
Mm,
So maybe
mhm,
it's trauma, maybe it's the
right.
healing pathway, but as well, uh,
Mm,
all the experiences that you have lived, at you have learned something from that, and it
right.
makes you stronger.
Right. That's such a truth perspective when it comes to inner growth as a human being, mind and body. Of course, even the body, right, Valerie? We have to go to the gym if you want stronger muscles. If we want to be stronger and we want to grow muscles, we need to really work for it. So, yeah, that makes sense that a lot of the building to become stronger. One of the things that well, my path has been to uncover suffering. Like, how can we end suffering? Is there a way of ending suffering? So I'll ask you that question because for me, I mean, I'm still a student, but I'm a student of Vedanta. Advaita Vedanta is a non-dual method, the Hinduism. But talk to me from your perspective. Is there a way of ending suffering as an open question?
Nice question. My
Yeah.
God, I don't know. What I noticed is that in my own path, because I can't talk for anyone else. Uh, at some point, it seemed that I've reached the end of, healing one point and focusing on that point.
Yeah.
And it's almost that at one point I'm exhausted with these questions, and I want to change the perspective, because I realize that if I keep focusing on, all that I have to heal, I'm
Right.
not living
Right.
in the present. I'm living on the past. I'm victimizing myself.
Right.
And um, the more I focus on what
Mm.
I have to heal, the bigger it become and the more place it takes in my life. And
Ah,
I don't
mm,
want to live like that, focused
mm, mm.
on the past. Of course, in the present, it's a field to play. Yes, it's your playground. So life is a playground. So I use, most part of the time my clients as, because they are mirroring something to me.
Yeah.
So, and I
Yeah.
use that to trying, really
Mhm.
trying, because it's not that easy
Right.
to be aware and yes, just to notice and pay attention and be conscious about that. And then, okay, what the new behavior, what the new
Mhm.
thought, what the new emotion,
Mhm.
and then what the new behavior, and that really feeling it into my body and feeling the new posture. And
Yeah.
then I try to act in a different way.
Yes, yeah, that makes sense too. I love the embodiment kind of piece. That's crucial. So from that perspective too, perhaps from your perspective, from a different point of view. So how do we get to safety? So safety leads to being ourselves. How learning to feel safe enough. So what are the pathways to feel safe? Like what are the some? I say healing, but I know for you it might be a different something different.
Maybe it's healing as well. Whatever the words are, we mean the same. It's I think, and that's what I ask my clients to do is, really take their journal, a pen, and list all the positive experiences they had, all their talents, gifts,
Right,
patience,
right.
skills, and so on. And then they have, 1, 2, 3 pages full of stuff that they have learned, and that build their inner capital.
Right.
And then from that person, this talks to the mind, and then bring that to the body and to your heart, to the heart,
Right.
and
Right.
feel how you feel when you are, enriched by all these experiences, all this data.
Mm,
And
mm,
at one point, this should make you expand.
right.
And then and to piggyback to the gym, go back
Yeah.
to the gym
Yes.
and do some workout, because when your body muscles are stronger, you
Mm,
feel stronger. And
mm,
really,
yeah.
I've been yes, in a past life, a gym teacher, doing some aerobic and so on. And I
Yeah.
did a lot of sports.
Yeah.
And then when I became a mother, I, completely stopped that to do some yoga, to get back inside and
Yeah.
get to know who I am and so on.
Yeah.
And then, yes, yoga bring back us to ourselves, but at one point my muscles weren't that strong. And then
Mm,
I came back to the gym and really do some workout.
yeah.
And then, only then, I felt so much stronger, in my body. And
Mm,
when you add that to all your skills and all the data in your journal,
right.
yes, you can really feel how
Right.
strong you are. So body, mind, and spirit are totally linked.
Yeah. Yeah. And it has to be that way, right? The alignment of all parts of ourselves. That's so true. And that
Yes.
makes us feel safe. So in a way, it's connected to truth, right, Valerie? So
Yeah.
basics truth, by knowing our own truth, honoring our own truth. And if we can find some, ultimate truth, that's even better, which I just love contemplating the idea that there is such a thing as the ultimate truth, the absolute truth. Have you thought about that? I mean, just throwing this in here. Have you thought of the ultimate truth?
Oh my God. I don't know what the ultimate truth. Probably, I say what's just coming spontaneously is, or what I receive is just living the life that you are meant to live,
Mm, yeah,
whatever it means.
yeah,
And to be able to do that, you don't have any other choice to dive into yourself. I mean, in the real self.
right.
Really, really
Mm,
put your mind aside, your ego aside, Stop your thoughts.
Yeah.
But
Mm,
just come back into your alignment, your heart center.
yeah.
Listen to your intuition, which is your voice, your soul's voice.
Yeah.
And but this means that you have be strong. You have to be strong or confident enough to stop, to take a step back, to stop, to sit, to breathe in and out, to enter yourself,
Right.
and to hold a space to welcome this inner voice. And this inner voice is your inner truth. And
Mm,
probably, you know, I feel the soul voice here
mm,
and our inner truth more in our belly, probably. I don't know.
ah,
It's how it.
ah,
I feel that like that. Maybe it's different in you. I don't know. But and once I'm fully here, I know who I am, even if I
mm,
cannot put words on it.
mm,
And
mm. Yeah.
that's the concept of inner truth. And then I don't know, when you are here fully calibrated and aligned to your true self, take your pen or channel, or visualize what your life is supposed to be.
Yeah.
But today and tomorrow, not in 10 days or 20 years.
Mm. Oh, I love that. That urgency too, right? Why not? Right? Why not tomorrow? Yes. We don't want to wait too long.
Yes, because there is a lot of, and then this spiritual path at one point become another way to
Mm.
perform, because you have to achieve that and to be the
Yeah.
best version of yourself and live
Yeah.
the life you are
Mm.
supposed to live.
Mm.
My
Mm.
God, no, just
Yeah.
just stop and live from this inner alignment, because
Mm.
otherwise we keep
Mm.
we keep on seeking for
Yeah.
something and we
Yeah. So
forget to
true.
live.
So true. So true, Valerie. That's what a beautiful insight, message, and reminder here. Yes. This thing about performing just out, almost like, um, what do you call the word is almost like, not overperforming, but just kind of always trying to be more, do more, add more, so I can compete, so I can compare myself with. I mean, it is kind of a very sad type of game that, yeah, we call the false self. But some famous people, they actually lose themselves in that game. There are
Yes.
some spiritual teachers that I cannot even listen to them. I know that what they're saying is true, but there's something about their presence that doesn't resonate. That's when it seems to me like they have somehow disconnected from source, and now they're just kind of, they have made a soul-led path. Business is beautiful, they make a lot of money, they're famous, but there's something about some of them, not all of them, some of them. So how do we, like, I love your this statement, the subtitle of your book, the 6 step soul-led path to an aligned life and business. So how do we keep, like what you said is so true. So if we can just be ourselves, true to that in every moment, just being ourselves, not trying something else, then that's it. But what about the pressure sometimes that comes from, like, having a company? Because we have a lot of people around me, like I have 2 companies, so I have people around me, and sometimes they say, hey Valeria, you should be wearing this, doing this, and I'm like, oh no, I want to be myself, I cannot be different. And I said, even if I mess it up, I don't mind, because I'm being myself anyway. But then, there's a lot of investment. These people, they invest, their time, my team. So
Yes.
what is your suggestion when it comes to keeping ourselves, true to the core, and without being influenced even by the people who work with you that want the best for you?
Of course, of course. And I think the best thing you can do is, before any interaction, come back to your inner self, inner
Mm,
truth,
mm,
and
yeah.
do whatever it takes to get back to your own alignment and presence. Recalibrate yourself to
Yes.
because there is the outer expectations, ego projections, your
Yeah.
own projections,
Mm-hmm.
and your own expectations, and then the ego, the instinct governance, and so on. And at one point, you lose yourself.
Right.
So
Yeah.
before any interaction, maybe it's 3 seconds. Just come back here,
Mm,
breathe
yeah.
in. Okay,
Yeah.
no, I'm not gonna wear that. I'm not gonna say that this way. I don't like this color. It's not me. It's not our brand. And
Mm,
when it comes to your brand or your company, and for example, meetings, add a
mm,
seat for your company, for the brand, and consult the brand as a person at the table
yeah.
and ask what she thinks. And it's a nice way to respect because your brand or your company have its own soul as well.
Right.
So its
Right.
own energy,
Mm,
on purpose. You are just the people here doing the stuff for it.
right. Oh, I love that perspective too, Valerie. That's beautiful. So if you keep that in mind, that we are all of us are working for this overarching kind of intention, right? It's almost like an entity that has this energy, this soul. That is so true. Yeah, that is so true.
And
Yeah.
it's
Mm.
not because everybody is doing a sales funnel or I don't know what, that you have to do it. It's not because everybody is doing a membership yet that you
Mm.
have to do it.
Yeah.
So find
Yeah.
your own way of doing things,
Mm.
in the most authentic way,
Mm.
because people recognize. You said that you
Mm.
recognize when they
Yeah.
aren't aligned, and you are not going to buy something from someone who is not aligned because
Right.
you feel it deep in your bones.
Yeah.
So yes, it's so your limbic is very very smart, so and aware of that. So we have to take this in account when we make decision and build our marketings or sales or even a relationship, customer
Yeah.
experience and so on.
Yeah.
And often what I see in my clients is that when they treat their clients the way they want to feel with a brand, the way
Mm.
they want to be welcomed and
Mm.
seen, and so on,
Mm.
it's often the best way to be in the doing.
Ah, yeah. What is a good example of that, Valerie? I would love to hear. Like, for example, I can give you the like joy is what came to me about 15, almost 16 years ago. Like Fit for Joy, this whole almost like yeah, like an entity, like a soul itself telling me that I was already perfect to feel joyful, that I there was nothing missing, nothing to be added, because I was really trying hard to be this and that. I was working out like crazy and competing, and now I'm not good enough, so I gotta do whatever. Almost like, and that was really, really bad. I was depressed and all those things. So joy, it was the invitation. That's the message. That's what I'm here to embody. Not as to show anybody. Oh, I want to embody this, so I want to show how how joyful I am, or how joy can be expressed. It's there's nothing to do with that, but there's something about sharing that message of joy, and sometimes for me has to do with being in a flow, so it's spontaneous, like almost like childlike.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't understand that. And then they like structure, people, like if you do a workshop, they want a structure. Oh, what time for this, what time for this, and what is next. Oh, this is not doesn't really bring joy, because joy is something that arises when we are relaxed enough, when we are free enough to for that to come in. So it's nice structured, and it cannot be pursued. It's something that you cannot go after. It's already here anyway. So how how do we work with the structures when it comes to delivering it in the business way?
Okay, so probably so. So in structure, the first thing I see is deadlines. So when you set dates in your calendar, and when you schedule stuff, take enough time to have the space, enough
Mm,
space and
mm,
time to adjust to the joy and do it at the
ah,
right time when you feel
yeah.
it. Because
Mm,
otherwise you will
mm,
lose the joy if
mm.
tomorrow morning you have to do, because the deadline
Right,
is really tomorrow.
right,
Then you will do it with pressure.
right,
And
right.
even in pressure, maybe you can take 5 minutes or 30 seconds to come back to your alignment,
Yeah,
bring back joy, feel it. I don't know, maybe you dance, maybe you
yeah,
sing, maybe, I
yeah.
don't know, or just, meditate, and then you can do it from that place. Because
Mm.
sometimes we don't have the choice to,
Right,
choose the date or do stuff.
right.
And when it comes to workshop, of course, people uh, love when it's well structured. But I'm
Yes.
sure that that the
Yeah.
clients who come to see you, they don't come from your structure for your structure. They come
Uh,
for who you are and what
uh,
they will experience during the moment with you.
yeah,
And
yeah.
probably the results at the end of the day, if it's
Mm,
a 1 day workshop. So you have
yeah,
your structure, you know what you want to bring them,
yeah.
what you want to bring to them, and then I have the whole
Yeah.
plan, so I'm trying to explain
Yeah.
what I see.
Very
And
visual.
then
Yeah. I follow.
here you have a kind of structure, because if you really want to feel joy, there is a container for that.
That's true. Yes.
How is this container, and how does your joy evolve within this container?
Right.
So
Right.
probably there is a timing, an introduction, a
Yeah.
warm up, I don't know, an icebreaker, or
Yeah.
those traditional stuff. But they
Yeah.
are different in your world than in mine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have your own tools, and
Mm,
do they really bring you joy and
huh.
joy to the people? What does it mean, and how can you put this, decline the joy in several way of organizing this day?
Right. Right.
Does it make sense, or we should
It,
work together on it, because it would be easier, because I don't have the
I
real
know.
example,
I know.
and how
No,
do
this
you
is
deal
a
with
very
that?
very helpful because that's what you do. It's not just for business, for life too. So we apply everywhere because we are whole.
Yeah.
So for me, yes, I can be very structured, but I cannot. But then when I can lose that structure pretty quickly, in the sense of I'm very loose with time and with let's say I'm not linear in any way, so I have a hard time following step one, two, three. Oh no, I just kind of put all together sometimes, and you're right
Yes.
about that. If this is what is to be taught, it's something that's taught by being true, right? I'm being what I represent, something that's really doesn't fit. And there's a container, as you said beautifully, is a space that we create, but doesn't have this, it doesn't have to be exactly the way we already kind of plan in our minds. There's no kind of, there is a high view but no high expectations. It has to be this way. Oh my god, if I
Yes,
make a
and
mistake.
even
Yeah,
if you have your schedule, and then you try and force yourself to respect this schedule, at the end of the day, you are not responsible of how your clients lived this
Mm,
day, because it's
mm,
their own pathway
yeah,
within this day.
yeah,
So you
true.
give, but the way they receive, experiment it, and
Mm,
what they bring
mm,
back with them,
mm.
it's probably not your responsibility.
Right, right,
So, what do
right.
you want to live? What do you want them to? What's the kind of experience you want them to live? And then do your best to do that.
Right.
And what you can, if you dare to do that, I don't know, say, okay, there is no schedule. You will experiment this. At the end of the day, you will have this, but it's your own way of living the day. And if you are like, and if you expect this workshop is not for you.
For you,
If
yeah.
if you are attached to a well structured workshop, and it's find another teacher,
Yes, I agree.
and
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Mm,
so
yeah.
yes, how do I do my, yes, I have the more or less the structure. I always bring people, in a future life progression or a meditation or a
Um,
visualization.
yeah.
And so they have, their eyes are closed during this time. And I do that 2 or 3 times during the whole day. So when they have the eyes closed, I can adjust the timing, because they are not conscious about, they are in a deep connection
Oh,
with
yeah.
time. So
Yeah.
they have absolutely no idea about the chronos time. And
Right.
the perception of this time is very different from one another.
Right.
So,
Right.
and probably when you move, you are in movement, you lose connection with time as well. And
True.
so then you know that you can play with this time extension, and then you have time for well structured actions, or mindful actions,
Yeah.
and left brain action, or right brain, I never know, but rational actions.
Yeah.
And so that the mind is on the same boat.
Yeah, it's also evolved. That makes sense. Again, from what your perspective before, what you mentioned is bringing everything together. So body, mind, and soul, everything's connecting
Yes,
constantly in connection with one another. But yeah, doing that intentionally, of course.
yes,
The thing about this, the idea of joy is that is has a lot to do with gratitude. I noticed that, like this love for life, appreciation for life. So everything that's here is like, oh my God, it's so amazing to be here. I don't even know what this is, but it's so good to experience this in the body,
yes,
in my mind. So for me, that's where joy comes from. But this is not. I don't know how much of that can be. Well, gratitude can be taught, of course, but how do we have to embody that somehow? Kind of, it's going to be a beautiful experiment. I'm hosting this workshop at the end of March, so that'll be very interesting to see that.
yes. But and I think we really have to, bring back people to their body, and where are the feelings in their body, and what is the sensations of these feelings, because joy is very different from you and from me, and
Yeah,
for your whole team as well.
yeah.
And what does it mean for them? And maybe when we
Mm,
come back to if we piggyback to your team and the relationship with your team, so they are here to learn from you as well, because otherwise they will work in another company.
right,
So
right,
um,
right.
bring them back to this feeling, these
Mm,
sensations, and where is it, what does it mean, what does it mean gratitude, because just doing a list of
yeah,
all you are thankful for or grateful
yeah.
for, it's not gratitude.
I agree.
you
I
know
agree.
yeah,
I
so
agree.
So
Yeah.
probably you're here
Mhm.
to show this to them as well. So
Yeah.
yes,
Gosh, I
I
can't wait.
think you will. Yeah, try to to embody that in your next workshop.
I will. I always do
And
it. I can only be myself. I cannot be different. But yeah, this structure is growing a little bit, so it's becoming more demanding in a sense, because the more you grow a business, right, Valerie, the more demands, from
yes,
clients and from people that you work with and everybody. So yeah.
I agree, and especially this year because of Saturn in Aries, so and
Ah.
conjunct to Neptune. So I think we are really challenged about structure,
Mhm.
and for
Mhm.
me, this structure is almost like you
Mhm.
know building a new building,
Yeah.
and a new way, but there is always foundations and tools for this foundation. So find the right tools for you and the right processes that allows you to be fully you, embody joy, and then you know do some workshop
Mm.
with your team and
Mm.
rethink
Yeah.
this whole process, structure
Yeah.
process, and as well as the probably the custom client experience, customer experience, each point of
Yeah.
contact.
Yeah.
Where can it be more structure to what? Not to put structure for
Right.
structure, but
Right.
to have structure to feel, to allow yourself to feel stronger, to be able to raise higher.
Mm.
It's like
Yeah.
a plant and a seed. If the roots aren't deep enough,
Right.
it cannot rise. And
Mm.
so it's energetic, but it's absolutely 100% tangible as well.
Yeah.
And within this container or structure, think about the leaves of the tree
Yeah.
and how
Right.
does it move, and how do you
Mhm.
move with this, strong steady structure, and then your arm can move because you're fully grounded and you have the structures, the tools, the organization that
Mm.
allows yourself to move the way you want to move.
Wow, beautifully said too. Yeah. Wow, you're good. You're good at this, Valerie. You're very good at this. Because it's not easy to, yeah, it's not something that's not easy to do, but for most of us, and that's why you do this work. It's not a lot of us wanted to do soul work. We want to have a soul-led business, spiritual business, but there's a lot into it that goes into it. It's
And
not.
and the thing is that we mean spiritual business, soul-led business, or and often we mix match spirituality and a soul-led path to woo-woo stuff or
Yeah.
whatever, and then we are not grounded. But the thing is that,
Yeah.
and especially this year, we have to be fully grounded to be fully ourselves. We are in a
Mm,
1 year,
mm.
so it's a time to be fully us.
Wow, I love that. I didn't know about that, but I do have an astrologer here that I consult.
Yes, so
Yeah.
of course, so talk with him or her about structure and what does it mean for you. Maybe have a look at your birth chart and where is Saturn is your birth chart. I don't know, but yes, it's more a part of Saturn and astrology. How does it feel here? And this structure and steadiness, the point of that is to allow yourself to expand. And maybe it's growth, but it's the expansion of your heart and
Mm,
your brightness,
mm,
and if it's an outer success criteria, fine,
yeah.
but it's the point of all that is to
Yeah.
expand who you truly are.
Right. Yeah. So true. Yeah, thank you. What a beautiful work that you're doing. Is that I wonder if every company can benefit for these insights. Do you think that there is room in a lot of the corporate businesses that we have now already established that they can add
Um,
some soul to it?
as long as the decision makers are in the room, there is space for
Mm,
that, for them. And as long as they want to do it, and do they want to really want to
yeah,
change and embrace that pathway?
right,
And it means,
right. Yeah,
for big companies, how change management is. I can't imagine for big companies what it means, this kind of change.
right.
It will come for sure at one point. My clients are small business owners, 3 to 10 employees, and it's easier because when they change, first of all, they left, the corporate world to build their own company to respect
Right,
themselves.
right, right,
So there's already a kind of purpose in it, and their employee came to work with them because of that, and that they want a real purpose. So there is really, and they want to contribute to a better world or better way, or life work balance, or
right.
you know
Yeah. So in a way, they're already in alignment from that very
yes,
intention, right? The very beginning.
yes.
But you're right. With big
And
corporations, that's different. Yeah, might be.
yes, and often, those business owners, there is a pivot, or a trigger at one point. It
Oh,
could be burnout, or illness, or divorce, or motherhood or fatherhood, or
right.
something, a major life event that make them realize, oh
Yeah.
my god,
Yeah.
it's not the proper way to live,
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. A lot of people realizing this at this time. So
yes,
many people realizing that. Wait a minute.
yes,
This
I
is not
love.
how I want to live. Oh, I love that.
Yes, me too, me too.
So we're almost at the end, and I have a lot of the questions here. Oh my God, I didn't ask about your book.
That's
So
okay.
many
The
questions.
conversation
Yeah.
was so beautiful.
You see, I'm not so structured, and I do my homework. I have all the structure here, all the questions, all the points, but then I just get in the flow in the moment, and I become, I just
And the thing is that,
live it.
don't worry, I don't have any expectations. I don't just, and the name of the podcast is the Freedom to Feel
The freedom.
Conversations. So, the
Yes,
container is freedom to feel.
it is. Yeah,
So, yes.
feeling this here and staying with in this moment. Yeah.
Yes.
So I love the also I want to mention the intuition you talked about before. That's so important. How to use intuition in your in the business. So that's one of the things that you teach. Also, you stated that intuition is a gateway to quantum field. So just for those who are still kind of puzzled about what that is, what is the quantum field?
Um, so yeah, so I'm not into theory, so I can't explain it in the probably the proper
Scientific.
theoretical way. But
Yeah.
for me, it's almost like, and I don't know if the listeners are used to that, but like the Akashic records. So
Mm,
for me, it's a field that is everywhere around us, the etheric field,
yeah.
and it contains all the information of any past and any decisions you take,
Right.
past, present, or future. And it means for me that whatever you think, whatever you want, already exists, because otherwise wouldn't have had the idea or the feeling, or and
Mm,
then you just
yeah.
have to wire yourself and align yourself to this idea. For example, I talk for myself being a best-selling author,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I position myself in this posture wherever it is in the future, because in this field everything is present and already exists. So there is a version of me that is a best-selling author. So I just have to embody it, feel it,
Mm.
think about what is the life, what is this life,
Yeah.
and take
Yeah.
my decisions from here.
Right.
And I did that just to illustrate, because I just don't talk like that.
Yeah.
um, for the launch of the book, I had a team to support me. I hired a team because I don't know anything about marketing a book,
Yeah.
even if I'm a former marketer. And um, at one point, I asked them, okay, what's the offer and the pack to work with you for the book launch? And so she said, she sent the proposal, and something inside me was, tensed, because this amount of money was linked to a former bad experience.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And then I contract myself, okay, there's
Yeah.
no way I'm gonna spend this amount of money for a
Yeah.
book. But this
Yeah.
book deserves to be seen.
Ah,
And then I realized, if I already were a best selling author, I would have invest this amount of money,
that's true. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it will not be a question, because I knew that this work deserve this amount of time, and it's valued around this amount of money.
Right.
And so I
That's
said
right.
yes, because I had the feeling that I can work with them, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah. Yeah. So I see. Yes. So you're already, in a sense, you're already aligned with the future. There's no that makes sense. Quantum field, that's already something that's here. It's already there. It's already somewhere. It's actually a parallel world. It's already, because there's no
Actually,
really
yes,
past.
yes, and you
Yeah,
can
it's already here.
choose. When you think about your life and what you can do, or if you think in your future life and what you can do. I don't talk about vision, but I can be
Right.
today a best-selling author, I can be a consultant, I can be, I don't know, a retired person, I can
Yeah.
be come to work with you in Hawaii or whatever. And all those ideas already exist somewhere.
Right.
Just choose the one you want and
Hmm. Ah.
change, just, it's almost like I'm standing like that,
Yeah.
and okay, I'm in this path, sorry, and today I'm here, but I want to come to Hawaii and work with you. I just have to do that and change my posture.
Yeah.
And
Move.
it's just because all the lines are already existing, all the pathways are already here. You just have
Mm.
to choose where you want to go, and where we are, when you are at the cross line,
Yeah.
choose what feels right at the moment.
Yes, yes, that's it. So choice is very important, the decision making, but doesn't really matter. Does it matter, Valerie, what choices we make, or it's something that, because all possibilities are open anyway, the gateway is open. So I'm wondering if we have that freedom too to make mistakes and go in a in a horrible way and then
Of
come back.
course we have, because first we are human beings. So when we make these decisions, when I pivot and decide to come to work in a way with you, is it my soul, and is it my purpose, or is it my ego, or
Right.
one expectation or projection or
Mm,
whatever? And if
mm,
it's
yeah.
not really your pathway, your soul path,
Yeah.
probably you will be bring back in the right path,
Yeah. It's gonna
and
take longer. Yeah. It's a
you,
detour, but and then you have to go back
yes, and
anyway. Yeah.
we don't have any control of that. What will happen in the future.
Right. Right. So true. Yeah. It makes a lot of sense. I love the way you talk. I mean, what you do is just very much aligned with what I live for, which is spirituality and getting to know more the depth of our own being and having being knowledgeable and courageous enough to follow the path. So thank you for your guidance because we do need guides along the way. I call them, some people call angels or garden angels or guides. I just kind of trust humans, other humans, that they are my guides. So when they say something, I kind of trust them. Like, wait a minute, that's a sign. It's a confirmation. So I'm always kind of listening to certain people, of course, not everyone, but in a sense, I kind of find that I listen to everyone, just looking for that sign, of guidance.
Of course, because there are probably synchronicity in that.
Yeah,
So we have to be really open to, because it comes from everywhere or
right,
anywhere. But
right.
uh, just we have, and I talk for me as well. Let's Once we received all those signs, let's come back to our heart and
Mm,
alignment and
mm,
feel if it's really for us, is if it's
mm,
now, or we
um,
can wait, because our soul
you know,
is patient. We have
mm,
our whole life, and then others to fulfill ourselves. So there's no pressure. The
yeah.
pressure is from ego, from the
Um,
outside, from whatever our
mm,
thoughts or misalignment. But let's
I like.
offer us this gift to take the time to feel: is it right?
Mm,
Okay, there is synchronicity there.
nice. Huh.
Let's have a break and feel what it means.
Yeah, thank you for saying that too. You reminded me of my sister for some reason because she's like that. She's very centered and she follows her inner guide a lot. She doesn't listen to anybody or anything. She listens to me a lot of times, but kind of. She's very much like, I listen to my own soul. I do not listen. She talks that way. And she always goes back to herself. That's true. Yeah, you
Hmm.
just reminded me of her now because she talks to me that way. When I say I love being guided, I'm open to be guided. And she said, what a dangerous thing to do, to be that open. She doesn't like that I'm like this, but I can't help it.
No, I follow my guides as well, but I try not to put pressure on myself to follow them, because often, it's so clear what they
Oh,
say, and
mm,
I try, to just change my whole life to according to what they said. But
yeah, yeah,
it showed me that it was not the right rhythm, and I have my, as a human being, I have my own rhythm. I
yes.
cannot force stuff to
Mm,
happen.
yeah, yeah. Thank you for saying that too. And that goes back to the original message about burnout, right? That you talk in your
Yeah.
book. That's very clear. That's a message. That's a signal. That's an intelligent signal, you say. So thank you so much for your beautiful presence, for being in this moment with me here, just kind of flowing with the questions and whatever comes up. So that says a lot from where you come from, because I cannot be different. A lot of times I do my homework, but I cannot follow it the whole thing. I mean, I follow some parts, of course. This is a marketing also tool, right? So we have to follow some structure, have some structure. But yeah, I apologize if I didn't follow more of the structure of the book. I had so many messages here, key points in the book. So your book, it's fantastic from my perspective. It carry from the cover alone, it's already a message there. Being, is the new doing. So that's already sends the message. It just gives us what we need to hear. It's already there. it's pretty much already there. But then if you want to learn more, just buy the book. March 30th will be on Amazon and your website, beingthenewdoing.com. So that's the website. And I know you offer also coaching, as everyone can see. You're very grounded in what you do. I love that. I love the reminder in your powerful message of always going back to you, and not just in a sense abstract self of the soul, the spirit, and the heart, but also what is in alignment with the body. Like I'm not a morning person, so I cannot really do that much, too many things in the morning. So I cannot have something that will kind of instruct me for the morning. It can never work. So I love
Yeah.
how you say that.
And about mornings, all those miracle morning stuff, that was very trendy some years ago.
Yeah.
And we try to put ourselves in a new routine and force ourselves to adopt that and so on. And maybe it works for him, it works for other people, but
Yeah.
doing that, waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning, at one point, I tried, because I tried it, of course.
Yes, you did. Me
I
too.
tried to perform, and I loved, to say to others, "Oh, I woke up at 5 this morning to do blah blah blah,"
Yeah.
and they were
Yeah.
like, "Oh my God, how do you do that? It's because of that you're so grounded." But no, and actually today I
Yeah.
need only 10 minutes to calibrate myself, and
Mm,
then I do sports in the afternoon, and I read when I feel it, and so on, and it gives me freedom. And if I don't read and don't journal and don't do yoga and don't meditate
mm.
every single morning, that's okay too,
Right. Right.
as long as I have a tool to come back to my own alignment every time I freak out.
You see, that's it. Yeah.
Yes.
You
And
see.
if people order the book, they will get this bonus and this 10-minute morning routine, the only
Oh, you
one
do
you
have
need,
it. So you do
Yes,
have
yes.
that there. Yeah.
Yeah, I have that. But the thing is that, as you said, and that's about being, only you have the answer of what's right for you.
Right.
Even if I download or receive stuff from your guides, you're the
Right.
only one to make the decision, and who is feeling what's right.
Right.
I can't do that for you. I can't take the decision, even if I can, give you some structure, some tools. But
Right.
you are the one moving with all that and
Yeah.
evolving with all that. It's not my life, and and I really think that consultant coaches or marketers
Huh.
did a wrong work around imposing stuff
Yeah.
to people. Yeah.
Yes, that happens. That can happen. I know it's kind of we are becoming more aware now of not doing that, but yes, some people they still. Oh, you must do this and that and that. But it's just a suggestion, and you're right. Sometimes you get the downloads, like you have the inspiration to write this beautiful book, and then you put out there for those who resonate with that message.
Yes,
Not for
yes,
everyone,
and
as you said.
this book is not, okay, it's a 6 steps path, but it's like the process of life. You open it wherever you need. It's almost
Yes.
like you open it by chance, and oh, that's what I have to do or get to know today. But please don't read it in a linear way, because life isn't linear. Of course, if you
Mm,
feel called to read it from A to Z, do it. But it's more like, and it's that there is a lot of stuff to get to know yourself. So it needs time. It's not a romance,
yeah, it's not a novel. That's true.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, beautifully said. I love the way you are promoting your own work. It's very authentic. It's real. It's just there's a lot of truth. You're being yourself in everything. It comes across that way. So that creates already that ground for trust. Like, oh, wait a minute. Because I became very open to listening to you just because the way you speak and the way it just resonates true and it gives me the confidence, oh, I mean, as a guide, I know, as a guide, but
I'm so happy that you say that, because English is not my mother tongue, so it's not that easy for me
yeah,
to promote or no to be
yes,
fully myself in English. But as we said earlier, yes, I had a previous life in an English country.
that's what it is. And another thing about truth and wisdom, they really don't need. We can recognize it's not something that it's the funniest thing about truth and wisdom. It doesn't need the language, doesn't need translation. It's pretty, we can tell body language. There's so much that you said here besides language. It's just very obvious to me, so thank you.
You're
You're about to
welcome.
say something, Valerie. You're about to say something.
Yes, I wanted to talk about truth, and at one point, let's be careful not to, you know, impose our truth to the world, because otherwise
uh,
we are in a spiritual ego, and then we are disaligned, because when we think that we know the truth,
right. The ultimate truth. The
yes, and I think
absolute.
there is no ultimate truth,
Yeah.
so except
Mm,
ours and our past
yeah.
life ways.
Uh,
So yes, otherwise it's just forcing people in being into your truth, and it's it has nothing to do with being, because if you want to be fully yourself, accept the others the way he is,
yeah.
the way
That
they
that
are. Yeah.
yeah, that's right. There are some absolute truth when it comes to like elements, right? Like fire, it's hot, it's always hot. Water is always wet. So there's always these those are pretty, I mean, those
Mm.
are physical rules, universal rules. But I like the idea that, being your own self in a sense, like a tree. I think about nature like a flower. It can only be a flower, it cannot be something else. So maybe that's what we are too. We are very unique. We cannot be different.
Yeah, but absolutely. And when I plant seed in my garden, is it salad, carrots, beets, tomatoes, or whatever? They have their own way of being, growing, and so on, and they have their own rhythm and
Yes,
their own colors,
yes,
and
yes,
so and
yes.
sometimes they try to trick you,
Oh,
because
really?
yes, you see your tomatoes, they are already red.
Yeah.
Even your strawberries, they are already red, but you
It's
have to wait a little bit to taste them in the proper taste, because otherwise it's still white inside. So
right. Oh, I see.
it's all
Huh.
about feeling
Mm,
the right timing and
mm.
respecting everyone's timing as well, rhythm, pace, and yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's another beautiful message. Yeah, that your book and you kind of represent. That's a very, very true one for me too. Thank you so much for your beautiful presence. Again, your website is beingisthenewdoing.com. Has been wonderful to be in your presence and to listen to you. It just sounds true to me and it resonates with me. I have to say, it really, really, really does. So I know it's might not be the ultimate truth, but it is something that matters. So thank you so much for being you. Bye
Thank
for
you
now,
for having
beautiful
me.
Valerie.
Thank you for
Thank you, my
being
dear.
for
Bye for
being
now.
you.